What's up? Please, notes right there, like and subscribe. I never do that enough, and I need to do that more. So I would very much appreciate it if you were to do that for me. Thank you. I would very much appreciate that. I want to grow this as big as I can so that I can help you all with more technology and give you more videos. So, and that also reminds me, please feel free to tell me if you want me to go over something or go deeper into something, or I didn't do well enough. Give me criticism. Tell me what I did wrong. That's how we learn. That's how I learn. So today I want to talk about what is XRP. If you haven't looked into the Bitcoin, what is Bitcoin, blockchain, and cryptocurrency, you pretty much have to. That if you don't know what blockchain and cryptocurrency is, or you don't have a really good understanding of that, then you pretty much need to go see that video first, because I'm not going to dive into that stuff, but it all builds on that. And so if you don't understand it, it's going to be a little tricky to follow along. If you don't know what Ethereum is, and you haven't looked into that video either, I highly suggest you go look into that, because it'll give you a good idea of that project, how it's different from Bitcoin, and what they're trying to accomplish. Because Bitcoin's trying to be this digital currency on the internet, kind of like digital gold, and Ethereum's saying we're not really trying to be digital gold, we're trying to be a giant computer so that anybody can run anything at any point in time, and it's decentralized, not run through a centralized server system. Really cool. So now we have XRP. All right, and I want to go ahead and jump over here, but I want to start here first because that's where I always start. XRP is on the third of the trading list of market cap on how kind of big it is. It's trading at 62 cents right now. This is by far my favorite coin, and I'm a little biased on this one in the sense that I'm clearly in love with this coin and this project and what they're trying to accomplish and what they're doing. And I'm just a huge fan. And when I discovered Ripple shortly after Ethereum, man, I just fell in love. I jumped into this community. Sorry, I got something caught in my throat. I jumped into this community, and then I realized that the XRP community is it's massive and it's so cool, and these people are just are so into it. I don't know, Ethereum's community and Bitcoin's communities are bigger technically, but there's something that's more tight-knit about the XRP community, in my opinion, and I'm really deep into it, and I just love the way people help out with each other. And the XRP community on Reddit, and especially XRP forums or the chat or whatever, just so awesome, man. Everybody just wants this problem to be solved. And I think you're probably wondering, well, what is the stupid problem you keep talking about? The problem is global payments, global remittance, the big stuff. Not me handing you $1 so much, or me paying something at a store so much, but really, and let's just go ahead and pull this up real quick. Really, it's about the big guys, all right? So they're solving the big problem, and for you to understand the big problem, I'm going to have to talk about global payment system and how it works right now. All right, the famous question that's been asked is, if you want to get, let's just say, $1 million, and you want to take $1 million and you need to get it to England, and you need to get it there as fast as you possibly can get it there. And that person needs that $1 million in their hand immediately, all right? Well, the fastest way to do that right now in today's technology would be to go to the bank, have them give you $1 million in cash, put it in some bags, get on a flight, and then fly over to England and then hand it to them. This is just crazy. When I grasped that question and that answer when it got posed, I just thought, this is archaic. How in 2020, or at the time it was 2016, 2017, I think it was 2017 at the time, how in 2017 are we doing this? How are we living like this? So then I dove deeper, and when I started to understand that when you want to send money from America to, let's say, Mexico, you're sending it from the US dollar to, and this is really important, and this really is what the problem is being solved, so just follow me for a moment. You're sending it from a US dollar to a Mexican peso. All right, so that dollar needs to be sent over to a Mexican bank, and then it needs to be converted, or really it needs to be converted on the transition and then put into a Mexican bank in a peso so that that person then can pick it up. Well, this can take days, weeks, months, depending on where you're sending it in the world, how much you're sending it. It can cost a lot of money. You're sending $1 million, it could cost you $10,000 just to send it, and it will take like 2 weeks to happen. And a lot of these banks, the way they're kind of setting it up in the background is like a bank that does this would then be holding bank accounts in America, in Mexico as well. They would have two banks, and they would be holding pesos and they'd be holding dollars, and they just let it sit. It just sits there, and they call them Vostro accounts and Nostro accounts, or something like Vostro accounts. I can't remember off the top of my head, but these accounts just hold money. They don't move this money really, they just hold it, and essentially then at that point they can say like, oh, well then we'll just move this peso over there to this person's bank, and now they have it, and we'll just keep those dollars that they gave us. Like I give you $50, the bank, to then give 50 pesos, in equivalency. I understand that 50 pesos is not $50, but they give them $50 for the pesos to this person. Well, the bank just says, okay, well, thank you for your $50. I'll put it in my American bank account. And then the Mexican bank that they also own will say, all right, well, they're a member of our bank. Well, then we'll just move it over to their bank account. If they're not, then we'll transfer that peso from our bank to their bank. And that's essentially what happens. So they have to hold these, bank accounts and this money in all over the world, depending on which corridor you're trying to move through. And just to give you an understanding, in 2020 alone, it's billions, north of $5 billion has been transferred from U.S. to peso to Mexico. So this is called global remittance. All right, that's generally what they call this idea, is that you're sending from one currency to another, one country to another, globally across. This is global remittance. This gets really, really, really hefty. All right, so this process right now is archaic. It costs so much money. Apparently 10% or so of all transactions just get lost. I don't even know what that means. They just don't happen. Like, they never get sent to the other side. And essentially what is happening is like, you didn't actually send that dollar over and get it converted, right? Like, they had these accounts, so they had to send a message, like a text message, like an email. These messages just go wrong, Another big problem is, like, what happens when you're sending $1 billion? Well, now you have liquidity problems, where do you even have $1 billion worth of peso in one place, or do you need to get it from multiple places? Like, this becomes a really big issue when you're talking about this happening on a daily basis in massive quantities. And the more we globalize and the more we dive into technology, the deeper this is going to get. This is a big problem. This costs people, immigrants that come into our country and want to send money back out. This is not a bad thing. You want to dive into politics, whatever. This is not really a bad thing. They're coming here, they're bringing value to our economy, and then they're sending this money back out globally. This is really not a bad thing for us to be doing this. And so these billions of dollars are getting sent out. Well, it's costing these individual people, these individual immigrants in here, fees, massive fees to send back. So, like, you gotta send someone $50, you're gonna pay like $5 or whatever it is, and that's $5, man. That's a lot of money to these people. So like that's a big deal. And so Ripple, now let's dive into what Ripple's trying to solve. They're trying to solve this problem. They want it to be instant. They want you to just be instantly able to send money. If you want to send $1 billion over from US to peso to Mexico, then this should be instant. It shouldn't even be a thought. You shouldn't have to think about anything. And 10% of those should not just be lost to the ether, Like, what crap is that? So what they did was they built an XRP ledger, all right? And the XRP ledger is essentially what Bitcoin is. It's just a digital currency. It doesn't run by proof of work, POW, though. It runs by a Byzantine algorithm, which is a little different, and it relies more on trusted nodes. They have kind of like, you are a trusted person or a trusted node, therefore we're going to use you a little bit more, and you're going to validate more things. It's still a very centralized system. You pretty much have to have like 60% of the network compromised before you start having to worry about some of the things that, only like 20 to 30% of Bitcoin or Ethereum's network would have to be compromised. Now, we also have less nodes, and less trusted nodes, so it's a little easier, I guess, in a sense, to become 60%. So it evens out, in my opinion. But ultimately, in the end, they're both decentralized. So you can't say one's centralized, one's not. No, that's just Bitcoin maxi crap, and I hate when people do that stuff. That's not how this works. The XRP ledger is off on its own. Here's where it gets a little interesting. Bitcoin and Ethereum are really non-profits. They're not companies. They're just like groups of people who receive money in the currency, and they work on the project and try to like kind of build it up. Like Ethereum 2.0 is going to get released. And I'll talk about hard forking and soft forking and stuff like that, and how you upgrade these things in a later video. But ultimately, those are non-profits. Ripple and XRP are there. It's a profit. Ripple is a profit. All right, that's a company. The company built the XRP ledger and then sent it out into the world. All right, they don't control the XRP ledger. They can't just manipulate it and do whatever they want to it. They just sent it out there. So. And the way I mean by that is if Ripple, the company, crashed tomorrow and ceased to exist, the XRP ledger and XRP, the coin, would still exist and still runs, and it would still do everything it does today. All right, there would just be no upgrades to the global remittance processes and software that they're building on top of it. And that's really where the key part is. They built this ledger and this network to then say, it's the fastest, cheapest network. You send 1 billion XRP right now, it's going to show up in seconds, within like 3 seconds in your account, and it's going to cost less than a 1 penny to do it. If you send 1 billion Bitcoin right now, it's going to cost you $1 million to do it. I really have no idea. I would really be kind of curious to know how much it would really cost you, and it would take, I don't know, 30 minutes to an hour minimum for this to happen. You know, XRP is instant and negligible in cost to even think about. So that's really, you know, they were solving the problem of we don't want this thing to be slow. It needs to be super fast, super efficient, and we need a lot of it. And that's also why there's 100 billion coins that are already mined in existence. So, you know, Bitcoin, you're continually mining more coins into the network, and it's always kind of a little growing until they're max. They do have a max, but it grows into the max. We already have 100 billion coins in XRP. They exist. No more coins will ever get made or whatever, or mined or anything like that. So kind of important little point here, but it's instant global transfer of value. That's their whole point here. And so what Ripple did as a company is they built the XRP ledger, they released it out into the world, and then they said, all right, now as a company, we're going to build products that then work on top of this ledger we built. And then people and companies can buy our software suite, and they can use it on top of the XRP ledger. Again, they don't do anything with the ledger. It's like building a highway and then releasing the highway to the public and letting them have it, but then saying, but now we're going to start another company, essentially, and we're going to build products on top of it that you can then purchase and use, and makes the highway better. We're going to make that highway like really great, you know, for a lot of different institutional, you know, banks and things like that. And that's all they did. They just started building products. And one of the best products is ODL, on-demand liquidity, which used to be called XRapid. And essentially what they have done is they've created this system. They partnered with exchanges, all right, like Bitstomp, I'm pretty sure it is. Anyways, they have partnered with these exchanges, and they said, you're going to be an ODL provider. We need you to have a buttload of just currency in a corridor. So if you're an ODL provider in America, then that means that you're an exchange that's going to have a buttload of dollar just sitting there waiting. And that way, when someone wants to convert dollar to peso, they're going to go, it's automatically going to do this in the background. All right, so you got to keep in mind, this all happens instantly in the background through their ODL software suite. This bank utilizing this says, all right, we need to go over to the peso. Well, they don't even need to hold a bank account over there anymore. They don't need to hold money over there. They don't need to hold money anywhere. All they do is say, we need to go over, you know, so to a peso from the dollar. Well, it goes from dollar to then Ripple, or the XRP, I should say. And then XRP, which would be in the exchange, would then get converted into the exchange in, you know, or sent over to an exchange that's, you know, because once you have it into XRP, you can send it anywhere. So we convert into XRP, we send it over to an exchange that houses our ODL kind of provider for peso, and they convert the XRP into peso, and then the peso gets dropped into the bank account. So we go dollar, XRP into an exchange where it gets converted into peso, and then peso into bank. Okay, dollar, XRP, peso. And this all happens through these ODL providers that are already waiting because liquidity. They need lots of money. So instead of housing these bank accounts everywhere, they're now having this ability to just send it to an exchange. The exchange has the liquidity for you in that currency. And then they convert this currency over, and then they, etc. They move on with it. So that's essentially what they kind of built to be the underlying kind of goal long term, is this ODL platform. They essentially, when they did it with MoneyGram versus Western Union, you need to be able to send money globally from person to person. Well, now MoneyGram has been able to undercut the competition because they can do it instantly and they can do it for pennies. So the fees to do this are really cheap now. And because they're utilizing this ODL system. And Western Union, I'm sure, is going to have to do something of the sort. These people are going to have... Look, Bank of America's jumped on. You should see the list of banks in Santander. Their network is just huge. Their customers are massive. They're playing with the banks. If you think that cryptocurrency is going to exist without working with the banks and the central banks and the Federal Reserves and all of that in the world, then you're crazy. They have to. All right, this has to happen to some degree, especially if you want to do what they're planning to do, which is really take the banking system and the global transfer of money and make it instant and free. Make it cheaper and faster. That's the goal here. That's what they're trying to accomplish. And if you want to do this on a retail, level, then you're going to need to be able to work with restrictions and guidelines and governments and these kind of the way these standards work currently. All right. So they work with these. They have people on the Ripple board, essentially, part of Ripple, that are out there in these meetings, playing the politics, trying to move these goalposts as best they can for the crypto world. Again, they don't have anything to do with the XRP ledger anymore. They just build products on top of it. That's it. They built the ledger. They sent it off into the world years ago in 2012. And actually, Vitalik Buterin was part of that in the early days. He was part of Ripple in the early days when it was called OpenCoin. So he couldn't get, I'm pretty sure he couldn't get a visa to stay here, and then he had to leave, and that's when he built Ethereum. Little weird story there, but ultimately Ripple, before Ripple, was called OpenCoin, and they built the XRP ledger, and they dispersed it off into the world, and they changed their name to Ripple, and then they started building products on top of it to help global payments and remittance projects. So Bitcoin doesn't do that. They're just trying to be a digital currency that's decentralized out there. Ethereum's trying to be a network that's like an Internet 2.0, Web 2.0. And then Ripple's trying to be a global payment system. They're trying to really change the way that you're going to have payments sent globally across the whole world. They want it to be instant and cheap as possible, and nearly as free as you can possibly make it. So that's really what they're trying to accomplish at this moment. I want to see if we can go over. I mean, look at all of these people, all right? 300 plus financial institutions across 40 plus countries worldwide. They're opening corridors, and a corridor would be like US dollar to peso. That's a corridor. So one currency to another currency would be a corridor. They're opening corridors all over the place. I wish that I could just get back to that. They don't let you do that? Or do I have to scroll down? That would be, I want to see this right here even longer. That would be really nice, Transfer go. I mean, they've got so many people. I wanted to see a whole list like this, but I mean, you can see that it's an expansive group of banks and companies that are really trying to utilize this. So I really have a bright future for this one. I think this is going to change the way we really do business across the world, because it's going to make things so cheap and affordable to be able to do global, essentially what I'm getting at is the global economy will become smaller. So when the internet came out, we started being able to see what people were doing in China and Russia and India and all these other countries, and we were like, oh man, I can see people in Africa now, you know? This is crazy in real time. It globalized the world. It made the world a little smaller, and now we're all kind of a little bit more global, and it's not just about our country, it's more about the world now. And I think that the economy is going that way. When the economy is now getting globalized, well, this will just expand that globalization of the economy and make it very easy for someone like me in America to do business with someone in Africa or China or Europe, and it would be much smoother. And this will also give more people bank accounts. There's over 1 billion people without bank accounts. This will allow people to have better access to bank accounts. I really think Ripple and XRP will be the kind of reserve currency sitting behind the scenes that you don't really understand or use or see, that's facilitating all of these currency exchanges. It's the one that, it's the liquidity to make sure that we can go from dollar to peso, and that we can do all of these things, and it's cheap and it's instant. And so that's really what Ripple is trying to accomplish. There's more to this, but I don't want to get into any more of it. That's really about it for right now. I've already been going for 20 minutes. So anyways, yeah, really cool. I love Ripple. I love XRP. I love the whole ecosystem. If you have any questions, just let me know. Make sure that you kind of do it every time, man. But like and subscribe. I just want to grow the channel. I want to help out more people with technology and check out more videos. I don't know what I'm going to do exactly next, but come back for more, and you'll just see more on technology and stuff. And then I have cool conversations with just random people, and that's my stories with the working, or really their chats with the working class, and it's just working class people and just having conversations about their life and what they do. So come check that out too. This has been ChazzCoin Tech Talks. I enjoyed it. That was what is Ripple. If you really like Ripple and you want to tell me more, or you want me to get deeper into it, let me know. Remember, I'm ChazzCoin on Reddit and Twitter, so if you have any questions or things, or remember, criticize. Let me know how to make it better. I don't know how to make it better unless you tell me how to make it better. All right, cool. I'm lingering now, so I got to get out of here. See ya.